So welcome back. Today's subject is an interesting one, an intimate one for me. I can share again some of my experiences of how things have gone right and gone particularly wrong. As the book says, 9 steps to get over your ex in seconds. So I'll talk about my second wife breakup. There were some things that happened. It was totally my fault. I'll give it that. But then we had like a 6 or 7 day hiatus. It was actually December 25th, Christmas Day, we broke up. And we got met back together on New Year's Eve just to see if we could reconcile anything, sit down, have a meeting, decide whether after 6, 7 years, enough was enough, had enough of me, and I've had enough of you, and it was time to go our different ways. So here's what happened. I'd been on a Tony Robbins course. I think it was Date with Destiny, almost a decade before that. And there were some interesting things that he taught you about relationship mastery. And if you haven't done a Tony Robbins course, I highly recommend them 100%. So here's what happened. You get a blank piece of paper out. You normally can draw it into quarters. I just cut it in half. And there's 2 types of things that your partner should or should not do. There's the must never do. It's called breaking your rules. And then there's a should not do. Now the should nots are not as bad as the must nevers. You get that? Kind of makes some sense. And what we do is you separate from your partner and you literally write down what you must never do, what you should not do. And I write down exactly the same thing. We begin this exercise and it takes about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And I walk over, separate ends of my apartment at the time, and I sit down with her and I say, okay, you go first. Tell me all my should, nevers, must nots. And she spills off this list. Well, honestly, the list was quite long. So I had really done a good job. Not. But the bottom line was the things that she was asking me to change were part of my character. There's certain things you can change attitudinal things that you can change in your life, which can be done in an instant if there's a big enough reason why. But when you're talking about somebody's character, how I act, how I speak to people, how I interact with people, and it just got to the point where she was describing a man that wasn't me. When I first met her, I was pretty successful and had a pretty highfalutin job and flying all over the world. And then things changed as I got older. I didn't want to travel so much. I definitely didn't want to speak so much. So that was that. But let me get to the point here. She wrote this list and I should never do this and I must never do that. So I just looked at her and I just said, you know what, babe, there's no point in going over my list. Because what you're asking me to be, the person that you married, by the way, isn't this person you're describing now. I don't know who he is, but it's not Lee Charles. It's not me. So I think it would just be best if we call it quits. And she said, well, don't you want to read me your list? I said, no, there's no need. There's no point. It's irreplaceable. We cannot fix this situation. And this is actually what I did. We'd had a bottle of Cristal in the fridge for a while. So I said that when I first met you, I took you to a champagne bar. So we're ending our relationship now. And we'll break open a bottle of champagne. We started it with class. We'll finish it with class. And we opened up a bottle of Cristal, sat down, we drank it, we laughed, we joked. We may have gone in the bedroom for a little bit. And then we literally give each other a kiss and left New Year's Eve. Yeah. And I flew out of the country a couple of weeks after that. So that is how we ended the relationship. The key thing that I didn't disclose was that my piece of paper was blank. I never wrote anything down because the woman I got was the woman I married. And the interesting thing to learn from this is most women will marry a man so they can change them. And most men will marry a woman because he wants her to stay the same. And that's a classic case. It was a pretty amicable breakup, to be fair. We still speak on occasion these days. She's happily married now with her children. We don't interact anything other than if it's business or to get my decree nice eye, something like that. But that is life. Remember that phrase. A man marries a woman so she can stay the same. And a woman, not always, but most of the time, marries a man so she can change him. It's not really working. Not really going to change. Not in my case. Not if you're an alpha male. Not if you're out there and you are storming the world, the capital, supporting your family. feeding them, clothing them, housing them, taking care of business every day. It's not time for him to change, is it? I don't think so. So there you go, lessons learned, how I finished my second marriage, and it was totally amicable. But the funny, when I didn't show my piece of paper, I actually burnt it. We had a candle and I just burnt it. So she never saw it. And to this day, I'm not even sure if she even knows that. Not that it matters now, it's irrelevant, but yeah, I never wrote a thing down. Interesting, huh? Something to think about. There you go, how I ended my second marriage. I'm sharing it with you because maybe you could be in that critical phase of your relationship where you have separated or you're about to, and you need to sit down and discover those rules. You can look it up online. I think it's Date with Destiny, Rules of a Relationship by Tony Robbins. And yeah, must never, should not, should never. So difference between languages, terms, and how powerful they mean to you, how powerful those rules are in a relationship. Because after all, communication is probably the number one reason, or lack of communication, why relationships do end. People just go in two different directions, and sometimes that's okay too. Anyway, peace, love to you all. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Get on the site, grab the book, 9 steps to get over your ex in seconds. Use the steps, use the system, the formula, make the investment, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care.